I'm Captain Ron Shackleton, Detachment Commander of the Special Forces personnel in this area. American advisors first began laying the groundwork for village defense in this region in September 1961. At that time, the villagers in this area were almost completely defenseless against the predatory tactics of the Viet Cong, the Vietnamese communists. Out of fear, these mountain people were forced to both feed and house roving Viet Cong patrols, and their young men were often forced into Viet Cong activities in order to protect the lives of their families. Our effort during the months we have been here have been to teach the mountaineers, who call themselves the Rade people, that they are capable of defending themselves against such tactics, that they need not be afraid. We have shown the Rade how to build stockade-type fences and how to maintain 24-hour security. This is Master Sergeant John Slover, who has just returned from observing a patrol. Through an interpreter, he will comment on his observations.
We tell the patrol that they did a very good job today. There's just one point I want to stress. Some carry their weapon down like this. Carry their weapon out the ready at all times. Where their eyes are, so is the muzzle of their weapon.
Not all our advisors rely on interpreters. Here we see Sergeant Bill Belch instructing the carbine in fluent Vietnamese.
Đây là khẩu súng carabine là K30. Trước khi Hào lắp và tháo khẩu súng này, tôi sẽ nói qua về những tính cách của khẩu súng này. Muốn bắn chết một tên quân địch, cách các anh có lẽ chừng 300 thước thì được với khẩu súng này, nhưng xa hơn thì chắc là không được. Nhưng mà thường trong những khu vực như thế này, như là rừng hay là có nhiều cây, thì thường không trông thấy xa được. Thế thì nếu một tên quân địch gần.
Basic instruction in the care and use of a weapon, familiar to any veteran of the U.S. Army. In this class, one of our Rade instructors is teaching his men a technique in search and seizure for arresting Viet Cong agents. Many such agents conceal themselves in friendly villages disguised as ordinary workmen. These men are from surrounding villages. They have come to our village seeking training which will enable them to provide their own defense against guerrilla bands. It is not unusual to see 200 or more of these people each week. Outside the village gate is a sign which says, "Here, no Viet Cong need apply for rice or any other assistance, that this is a free village which is no longer afraid." We have taught our friends small unit tactics and given them modern equipment with which to defend themselves. People who once defended their freedom with a crossbow are now learning to use rifles, submachine guns, and grenades.
Mapatangan! Ma! Enough! Now! Hey, back! Da, doa, 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 da, doa.
Today, these Rade people or in some ways very primitive by American standards, are among the best anti-guerrilla fighters in Southeast Asia. As our program expands, new Special Forces teams are moving into other villages, always with the same goal, to teach people who value their independence how to preserve it.
Okay, Odie, your boys got all your equipment. You're all set to go just about now, aren't you? Just about. Okay, fine. Well, you know that we're going to have trouble to the south. When we first set the circle up here, VC didn't know what we were doing. It took them about a month to really figure out just what we're about to do there. So when we move to the south, they already know just about what we're going to do. And once we start building up the same defensive systems we had up here, they're going to try and hit us as soon as we start. So we're going to have to watch that.
Well, Odie, for the past couple of weeks, you and your team have been here observing my team work with the Rade people in village defense. You've been exposed to some of our training problems, our logistical problems, and some of the problems that arise from working through interpreters. If there are any questions that you or your team have at this time, or any other way that we can help you, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Ron. The last 2 weeks have been very beneficial as far as our team is concerned. We've learned a lot, as what you mentioned, the interrogation and so forth, and the training with the Rade working through interpreters. And one point that you can help us with, though, is on this field headquarters there you've got set up. Where we're going, we'll probably be working decentralized training rather than centralized, and the results you have may help us down there. But when we go to the other area, I'm afraid that we're going to have a few more problems down there that we don't have here. For example, a different tribe, and plus we're working with 2 different types of group of people, Giúp and the Male tribe. And we can take what you have given us here and then modify it to meet the situation down there. As far as equipment-wise, I think we pretty well got everything you had. How about lesson plans and training schedules there?
We're okay on that, but we'll probably have to make some changes as our situation goes along.
Okay, Van, how about the commo situation? It's pretty well in hand?
Well, we'll try the same system they're using here. If that don't work, we'll change it.
The villages of Southeast Asia were old in the days of Julius Caesar. Throughout their long history, they have been regularly conquered, oppressed, liberated, and invaded again. In the best of times, lives here are neither long nor easy. Maybe it's not surprising that the villagers of Vietnam have simple ideas about what makes a friend. Friends are people who help. Medics of a rather special kind are part of a special forces team to care for their own men. But in isolated, often disease-ridden hamlets where no doctor has ever gone, a special forces medic with his extensive specialized training may be the only contact with modern medicine the people will ever have.
Okay. I'll give her this slip here. Write down the medicine and she can pick it up. Hey, buona
The use of military personnel to win friends as well as to fight is gaining ground in Vietnam. A villager is likely to be more interested in a new roof for his house than in the outcome of the Cold War or the threat of communism. The training and advising of Vietnamese civic action teams for work in the villages of Vietnam may be one of our major contributions to the defeat of communism in Southeast Asia. But if good works are an answer to communist propaganda, they're not enough to repel the guerrilla terrorism which invariably follows when propaganda fails. This is the village of Hoc Thien, near the coast of the South China Sea. By refusing food and volunteers to Viet Minh guerrillas, these villagers subject themselves to 250 guerrilla attacks in 5 years. That's an average of 1 a week. They're about to show an American visitor how they survived. A typical alert, which here is more often real than practice. The village has been organized into a small fort. When the alert sounds, every man, woman, and child has either a place to hide or a post to defend. They've defended it so well that guerrilla attacks have virtually ceased. The price of extorting food and supplies has become too big for the guerrillas to pay. And it's worth remembering that they did this all on their own. Americans are now giving them weapons and technical advice. But in this case, we're only making a good thing better, and maybe making life a little easier for a town full of brave people. All the bravery in the world won't win a war from behind a stockade fence. Sooner or later, you have to take the fight to the enemy, whether he's an army or only a band of guerrillas prowling the surrounding jungle. At a Special Forces training camp outside Saigon, volunteers from the village of Hoc Thien are training to carry their war outside the gates. These training missions can be interesting. The jungle is never safe. And when you practice searching for guerrillas hiding in jungle villages, you're always liable to find some. In this school, nobody has trouble keeping the students awake. A moment's carelessness can lead to disaster. You don't cross a clearing, pass a temple, or walk through a cemetery without making sure. Natives of the Vietnamese highlands have nothing to learn from Americans about jungle living. But they do need help in mastering the tactics and using the modern weapons which communist-trained guerrillas are using against them. Like mountain people everywhere, they are natural soldiers who learn fast. These are men of the Nung Chinese, training at a Special Forces camp near the town of Da Nang. They are already some of the most experienced anti-guerrilla fighters in Southeast Asia. In 1954, 25 of these same men turned back an assault by 1,000 Viet Minh soldiers, killing 600 in the process. These are mountain people of the Katang tribe. They and their U.S. instructors are drawing rations of dried shrimp and rice for a week-long jungle patrol. A joint training exercise with soldiers of the regular Vietnamese Army. It will have the added practical advantage of making life difficult for a battalion of Viet Cong guerrillas who happen to be using the same jungle. The main problem in taking the fight to the guerrillas in Vietnam or anywhere else in Southeast Asia is terrain. Ordinary means of travel are too slow to counter the hit-and-run tactics of communist guerrillas. One answer to that problem is the helicopter. Helicopters manned by pilots trained to fly at treetop level can bring troops into a guerrilla-occupied area the moment their presence becomes known. The helicopter also increases the staying power of the anti-guerrilla patrols. With fresh supplies of food and medicine available in the heart of the jungle itself, patrols like these can cover a lot of territory, stay until they find what they came for. The communist guerrilla is beginning to learn that there are fewer places to hide in the jungles of Vietnam. Some of the Viet Cong guerrillas are hardcore communists, prepared to die for a cause in which, unfortunately, they sincerely believe. But the Viet Cong also includes men, many of them, who only want an alternative. Men like this young Rade tribesman, who a few days ago deserted the guerrillas and came to a Special Forces team seeking protection.
His name is Trung, 22 years old.
How long has he been with the VC?
Đâm lan ở độc phòng Việt Minh.
Độc Việt Minh đua lan, nan xa nan đua.
He has been with the VC 2 months since January.
Why did he join the VC?
Sinh ngạc lại ở độc Việt Minh.
Còn độc Việt Minh cứ ta sẽ nhung mạc ho, go, tôi cũng nào yeah.
He joined VC because VC forced him, pressed him to go in jungle.
Why did he desert the VC?
Nhưng ngạc lại cái đội mang Việt Cộng.
Có kelas dua mang Việt Công, kita có một đôi kia, chúng tôi kenap nhai. Để chữ trang, quy pran quẹ.
He deserted VC because he does not like the life of VC. And he treated badly many people, steal rights, and work hard.
Why did he come to our specific training area?
Sinh ngại chẳng khởi cái bên nào này.
Có đây bên nào này, kita có một hình. Vợ bên nào này, pray cơ. Play nghe công đi muốn sang.
He come here because he know that program in Quân Đội Hoa is for Rade people and for Rade benefit, and he want to work here to help Rade people to have better life.
How large was the group of VC that he was with?
Đâm châu phong Việt Minh bet hông.
Việt Minh độc bên có Phạm Lục Châu.
40 people with him.
It will be a long while in Vietnam before any swords are beaten into plowshares. But the time will come. What the people want is peace. Peace and a chance for a better life. The communist Viet Cong promises them progress. But in the meantime, creates a world where peaceful citizens must go armed in fear of their lives. What the Viet Cong guerrilla really wants is power. What he can't control, he tries to destroy. In South Vietnam, the old promises don't work as well as they used to. And so the guerrilla resorts more and more to terrorism, is at war with his own people. The Vietnamese are an ancient race and an independent one. This is not the first time they've fought for the right to decide their own destiny. For 2,000 years, they've defended that right against all the emperors of China, against the cavalry of Kublai Khan, against modern armies using machine guns and airplanes.